Well, it's been going on long as I can remember. Somebody talking about oh so and. Next thing you know, it gets repeated like it's gospel. When it got started by someone who does not know. If you don't hear it from the horse's mouth, you're hearing it from a horse's ass. Alright.
Motion to open public participation.
Second.
Motion made to open participation. All in favor? I oppose. As we have the rules here, what were they? The 2 minute? 2 minute, and you
Yep,
the
we're
timer?
gonna- Yep, I have the timer, and we're gonna keep it. I think we only have, with the two lists total, about 12 people, so
right.
we'll be good to make it within the 30 minutes, so I think it'll be okay.
Call the phone.
Our first speaker will be John Popolo.
Good evening. President Marchese, nice seeing you up there. I'd like to say that I'm against the creation for the Cemetery Commission. We don't need more campaign donor stipend jobs. The budget does not support handing out more money. It's wasteful spending tax dollars in return for what appears to be campaign contributions. Appears to be. Eliminate the stipend jobs. Also, I hope each stipend job performance is reviewed for attendance and participation and not attended like the mayor's effort, missing 14 meetings on the school committee he forced himself on. When will the administration come to its senses and make cuts to the $300 million bloated budget? Your $300 million budget and tax increase approval has a negative impact on the quality of life for Everett residents. We repeatedly spoke out about holding the administration accountable for submitting a scaled-down budget. Our words fell on deaf ears. Now we're paying for it dearly in our taxes. Because the administration is fiscally irresponsible does not mean that everybody sitting here at this table have to be. You're supposed to be the check and balance, not the rubber stamp for the budget. Hope you all have a much healthier debate for the next budget than you did for this one. Question: what significant new businesses have come to Everett besides the casino in the last 10 years? Where are taxes heading in the next 5 years with the loss of major business and increase in residential units? Where is the plan to change the current trajectory to control spending, taxes, and attract businesses versus apartments? The corner office has been asleep at the wheel. There is no plan, but a few maybes. And one of the maybes is maybe more of the casino. Will quality of life in Everett continue its downward spiral with overdevelopment, inadequate parking, excessive traffic, exorbitant property valuations, and taxes? What's the plan? If there is a plan on paper, we'd like to see it. When will the overcrowding of the schools be resolved? 6 years and counting. Again, what's the plan? There is no plan in the corner office. We need a plan. What does this mayor do all day? He clearly is not busy working on the corner office, solving problems, or cutting taxes, or cutting wasteful spending. No, he's busy looking for ways to spend more. How about the $10 million boathouse? Budget goes up, taxes go up. It's not rocket science.
Finish up, please.
I am.
Okay.
Residents are not getting a fair shake. It's time for serious changes. Too many people in this Hackarama building are not engaged. Recall is clearly needed. Thank you.
Thank you. That's what it is, Joe.
Our next speaker will be Diane Nuzzo. I think I missed Joe.
Right here? Is that right? Good evening, my name is Diane Nuzzo. I've been a resident of Everett for over 40 years. I've worked in the schools, I'm on my 27th year. On New Year's Eve day, I received a New Year's gift in the mail, a tax bill that has raised my taxes $1,500 per year. I paid $11.29 November 1st. My new bill is now $1,500 for February. 4 years ago, 2019, when Encore was built and opened, we were promised that the $30 million that was coming in from Encore was going to keep our taxes low. My sister lives in Linfield. I spoke to her today, and my taxes now are more than hers. And they have many places to shop in Linfield. We don't even have a grocery store in the city. You're driving families out of this city, left and right. I know of many, and I know that we probably be one of the next ones. I think it's atrocious that the taxes have gone up this much. I also feel that I got a phone call the other night stating that we can get our residence stickers. I don't know why, because in my neighborhood, you don't need a residence sticker. I live on the edge of Chelsea on Evelyn Road, and the people over in Chelsea told the people in Chelsea they could park on my street because we don't ticket and tow, and they don't. There's expired stickers from Chelsea there. There are people that don't have stickers there. A few times we've called and cars that have been left there and they will come and ticket, but I shouldn't have to call. When they were I don't know whether or not they do things during overnight anymore, but this, what's the sense of having a resident parking sticker? We have business trucks parked on the street, painting trucks from Milford, Mass. The city's turned into one cement building. Every time you turn around, there's apartment buildings getting voted in. No parking. Our street, when I moved here 40 years ago, barely anybody parked on it. Everybody parks on it, mainly from Chelsea. I think it's atrocious. I've never come up here to speak. I watch meetings. I'll be honest with you, many of you here I voted for, and many I will not vote for again if you run again. I'm very serious. I want something done about it. I've watched meetings where you listen to all these people that get up, and then nothing's done about it. And I'm sorry, but something has to be done. I'm not happy. Thank you.
Good evening, President. I like you up there. I would like to speak. I guess I'm speaking from the heart because I didn't write anything down, but you know that I'm always for a supermarket in Everett. You took away my Stop and Shop that I went to every single day to go grocery shopping. And lo and behold, what did I just see? The mayor putting a shovel in to put 761 more apartments in the spot of where I shopped. Where are these people going to go grocery shopping? I can't imagine not having a car, but we're trying to make Everett car free. Where is it gonna stop? I mean, you have older people that can't even make it to the grocery stores to get their groceries, but we're gonna make them go all the way to Chelsea, all the way to Malden, all the way to Revere. Oh, let me go on the bus with your groceries. If you go to the grocery store, do you pick up 1 or 2 bags of groceries? No, you're going and you're filling the cart up, and you're lucky if you can get all those groceries in the trunk of your car. But yet you want us to take a bus, an Uber, to go grocery shopping. I have tenants that literally their refrigerator is empty, and they don't have a car, but they're not walking down Hospital Hill, and they go over to McKinnon's to go grocery shopping. They come back with 2 bags of groceries because they can't even walk up the hills. I feel bad, but it's, when is it gonna stop with all this building? when we don't even have a place for people to go to eat. And we don't even have a lot of restaurants anymore because you're taking all those away with all these apartment complexes. It's getting a little disgusting. If you drive down near 2nd Street, those ones aren't even started yet. I mean, you got the ones on Vine Street that are gonna be starting, the one on School Street that the other half of it's gonna be building. I mean, when is it gonna stop? We need to really consider like a grocery store for us residents. Why are we putting money in other cities' pockets instead of our own pockets? I mean, my tax bill, I just got that also, just like everybody else. It's unaffordable for people in Everett. We try to make our houses look better. I still haven't even heard back from the city when the sewer came up and like totally got my basement disgusting. I mean, it's disgusting that we can't even have city members. They come to the house and say, oh, we'll get back to you, and they never come back. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I keep on complaining, but this is like from the heart. We really need to step up and start listening to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening again. I want to talk about the parking, the new regulation that they'd like to put in. Many of us have visitors in the early hours of the evening. Restaurants are open. Patrons get ticketed if they're in the restaurant after 6 o'clock at night. It would not be good for business. You've got Broadway, Norwood Street, and of course all the varies down on Broadway, other places down on Main Street. I don't think it's fair that restaurants should have to close by 6 o'clock. And then McKinnon's is also open. I checked, McKinnon's Market up on Broadway is open until 8 o'clock at night, and they're pretty busy. Churches. A lot of churches do have weekday services, and they're in the evening. Medical personnel. Yes, hospice workers come out, nurses come out. I've had it in my own family. So yes, they work 24/7 and they need access to come in and see their patients. School programs. Team sports at the rec center. I go there to watch my grandsons play hockey. I do have an Everett sticker, but many do not. The grandparents come, the aunts come. We want to see our kids. Music events, they can be at the high school. And then they get many out-of-city visitors against the students' relatives. Unannounced company drops in for a visit. Well, how do I get a sticker? I don't know they're coming. And then I would have to, if I didn't know they were coming, I gotta come down to City Hall, get a sticker and pay. No, I pay enough in taxes and I won't even go there. Parking meters, as far as I know, are good till 7 o'clock at night. Now, I may be wrong, but I think that's what it is. So if somebody has put money or charged till 7 o'clock, can they get a ticket legally at 6 o'clock? I don't know. That doesn't seem right. As if I turn the page here. I'm trying to go fast. 2 minutes goes by quick.
Yep.
All right. Funeral homes.
2 minutes.
When do they have a wake? A lot of them are in the evening, 7 to 9, whatever. And they're almost all out of the city.
You're gonna have to conclude a couple more lines. The 2 minutes are up.
I can't hear you, dear.
Oh,
Am I done?
you have to conclude.
My 2 minutes is up. I made this today. You can pass it around. It is Mom's drive-through when the kids arrive after 6 o'clock at night. I don't know how inspection services is gonna like that, but that's another problem.
Thank you.
Good evening. I think we can all agree that with responsibility comes accountability. Let's start with the ambulance. Last year, the city spent over $500,000 on a new ambulance. The ambulance has been stuck in our fire station for over 6 months because there was no plan or thought given on what running an ambulance service entailed, like a billing system and, yes, EMTs. What is most troubling, from what I've been told, is that during negotiations with the union, the city offered a 9% raise to the EMTs. As you would expect, most, if not all, the firefighters will be getting certified in EMTs and also getting the 9% raise, resulting in a salary increase of over close to $3 million. Where's the accountability? Next, regarding the rezoning of Lower Broadway, I recommend delaying the approval for rezoning the area until the original hosting agreement is revised. I think we can all agree that Wynn took advantage of the mayor and whoever else was involved in the negotiations in 2013. Remember, Wynn had no place else to go. Foxborough said no, Revere said no, East Boston said no. We were Wynn's last chance for a casino in Massachusetts. How much do you think that was worth to Wynn? A fire station, a police station, funding for a school, a rec center? None of the above, just a mere $25 million with a 2.5% increase per year. Their agreement didn't include any clause on getting a percentage of the gambling revenues like the state gets, and makes about $150 million a year. Not bad. No mention of the city getting additional revenues from new gambling ventures like sports betting, which will be a huge windfall for Wynn in the state. Just think of the Super Bowl and March Madness coming to your door. Wouldn't the city be much better off having Wynn pay property taxes with the current agreement? If the city ever does need a Prop 2.5 override, Wynn wouldn't be impacted at all. Everett holds all the cards. Don't make the same mistake the mayor made in 2013. Revise the hosting agreement now. Next, this may seem trivial, but it's frustrating to me as a taxpayer, and I doubt it's the only abuse of stipends. The 2 women up for reappointment to the Library Board of Trustees, the mayor's wife missed the only 2 meetings held in 2002. You may ask why only 2 meetings, because there was only a quorum for 2 meetings in 2002. The mayor's wife's attendance wasn't much better in 2001, missing 5 out of the 9 meetings in 2001. Mind you, these meetings normally last less than an hour, and the members receive a stipend of about $200 a month and are eligible for a pension. The other woman in the agenda doesn't even live in Everett or own a business in Everett. Can't we find any people in Everett for this board?
Paul, could you finish up, please? 2 minutes have passed.
Well, I wanted to talk about the legal stuff because, one, I'd like to know on the $180,000, the IG letter, my concern is if the mayor is contesting the decision from the IG, are we paying our tax dollars for him to contest the decision from the IG? I'd like to see the expenses that the city has paid to John Papalato since 2020 for the mayor against his defamation case.
Paul, we'll see if we get that to you, okay?
Yeah, and
From 2020, okay.
And the only other thing on taxes, you caught everyone off. This caught everyone off by surprise and all. I think the thing that bothered people the most was that no one asked the administration for a cut, for a freeze, nothing. All you did was say, here's $7 million out of free cash, and we're going to raise the taxes. No discussion of freezing any open positions that aren't critical or essential, nothing. Okay, goodbye.
Thank you, Mr. Reedy.
Good evening. I would like to address item number 21. It is my opinion that the mayor has exhibited on several occasions that he is not at all invested in the school children of Everett. His very vocal outburst regarding Pope John is a prime example. Even after repeatedly hearing from the community, hearing your vote to keep Pope John a school, hearing the school committee's vote to keep it a school, he made the statement that he would never allow it to be a school, that he would rather tear the building down and sell the property. His credibility is also become an issue because he's quite clearly stated that he would agree with whatever you, the council, has decided on. And as we all know, this council voted to keep Pope John a school. Apparently, he forgot what he said and didn't keep his word. It should also be noted that he missed 14 meetings, which makes us believe that he only shows up when there's an issue that he wants to vote on. For that reason, I am in favor of item number 21, and as usual, I requestfully respect no retribution nor retaliation because I am a city employee and I have the right to voice my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Congratulations, Mr. Marchese. Thank you to the council for inviting me to speak this evening. I have a couple of agenda items here that I'd like to address. I'll do it as quickly as possible. One is the proposal to change the residence parking to start at the times listed, 1 to 6 p.m. instead of 12 p.m. If I have company coming over for dinner and where they're going to park, I have a parking space in my yard that I use. Just like to know where they can park because my street is a tiny little street and there's probably 7 houses on it, maybe 8. Parking is extremely limited. At the last school committee meeting, I suggested, and I made the statement, Pope John will not go away. It's not going away. I want that said here in front of you people, as I said it in front of there. The mayor wants his change to affordable housing and veterans housing. Solution to that would be, why doesn't he take one of these other apartment buildings that he's building or that is being built in the city and designate one of these other buildings as affordable housing or as veterans or as low income, whatever he wants to do. It's that simple. Leave Pope John alone. You people here said to him you wanted it to be a school. He said he would do what you wanted. He never did. He turned around and said, no, my opinion. Well, Mr. Mayor, who happens to not be here tonight, which is not unusual, I'm entitled to my opinion, just like all these people here are. Just like you are. We all have an opinion. And as mayor, I would think that he would want to start listening to the people instead of doing what he wants.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
I just have one other thing here, if I may be brief. The mayor should not serve as the city school committee member and be referred to as mayor. He's a school committee person. I also mentioned that the other night, the school meeting. He does not represent the city. From what I gather in listening to past mayors, they go to these meetings and they're invited. When they're invited, then they're representing the office. They represent the position. I would like to see that go back to that type of an affair. He does not belong on the school committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, the speaker is Steve Pinto. Steve Pinto.
Good evening, everybody. Steve Pinto, 30 Chelsea Street, Park Plaza Condominium. Mike, I just want to congratulate you.
Thank you.
On presidency, and I have other people to give credit where credit is due. One of them is Stephanie Martins. She took time out of her busy schedule to meet with me over the holidays to discuss some development issues on Chelsea Street, and I appreciate that. I also want to thank Wayne Matusky, who showed up at the planning board meeting to give his support to Park Plaza and his issue on parking, which is a valid issue one parking spot per unit in these apartment buildings that are being built. I also want to give thanks to Darren Costa, who also attended the planning board meeting and had a very spirited debate or discussion with the planning board regarding TDM and how a lot of people, even on the planning board, think TDM is broken, it needs to be tossed out, or it needs some major work done to it. So yet we're approving all these apartment buildings going up, and we're using information from TDM, which is not good. It's not good information. And one other thing, I don't want to close the city down at 6 p.m. You're basically closing the city down at 6 p.m., which is what you're doing. It's not a good idea. But I just want to, so I had a very interesting couple of weeks between planning boards and zoning boards, and that's also broken as well, and it needs to be fixed, and you guys need to fix it. Residents are clearly taking a backseat to developers and political personal agendas. Developers and property owners are not from Everett, yet they're coming into the city and they're pushing residents out. The mayor can't have it both ways, and this body cannot have it both ways. When you say you care for residents that are being pushed out, you have to mean it. You just can't say it. You have to do something about it.
Steve, thank you. 2 minutes are up, right? I'm sorry. That's 2 minutes.
Okay, anyway, thank you guys for showing up at the
Thank
meeting.
you.
Thank you, Stephanie and Darren and Wayne. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Stephanie Hanlon-Dubois.
I'm here on item 16. While I share the same concerns that these good people have spoken about, I want to ask you not to kill the piece, but work on it and come up with a solution, perhaps in a committee with public input, because the parking is only going to get worse. The midnight to 6 is useless. Part of the problem is we have no businesses here. Housing is crowded because of cost of living is so expensive, and everyone has cars. I am on Everett Street, and regardless of the time of day, every inch of curb is taken for parking. I've lived in Everett my entire life, and I have never seen anything like this. I park in my driveway, and I have to struggle to get in and out of my driveway because now people park beyond the cut curb. We should be able to park on our own street when needed and can't. During the day, we have cars with no residential stickers parking anywhere from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. because we are on a bus line. People are parking and taking the bus to Wellington. That is something that needs to be worked on. Perhaps we can give 2 to 3 visitor placards to each household. When I go to my sister's house, I have to display a visitor placard. It's just a thought. Another issue, I was speaking to an acquaintance on the street the other day, and she was complaining about no parking on Everett Street. She told me her landlord was going to charge her a lot more on her rent for one parking spot in the yard. Now that is wrong. I believe the root of the problem is all the overdevelopments going on. Instead of more apartment buildings going up, how about a supermarket? I mean, has anyone seen Tremont Street lately? It has been, used to be a wide open street, okay? Now it is an influx of cars. It's terrible, it really is. And this all happened at the same time an apartment building went up where GTA used to be. Now they're at Middledale, and you have another trucking company next to them. Tremont Street is a disgrace. On Everett Street, there was a single-family home that was torn down. It was a cute house, and now it's being rebuilt larger than it was. I have pictures here to show it towers over all the other houses. There is no way that this single family going up, it is a single family going up. Where are these people supposed to park? For the record, this house is now blocking my open view from my kitchen window, and I was never notified by the city. I also want you to know there is definitely something going on. Seems like developers know to come to Everett. Last spring, we were approached.
Thank you. You have to
I gotta
conclude.
finish 1 minute, Michael, I'm sorry, because this is very important, this is an agenda item, okay? Last spring, we were contacted by a developer/builder that wanted to purchase my homes on the property, okay? I was not interested, but after the summer of hell with noise levels, I called him, and I asked him, what are you gonna do with the houses? And although he didn't give me a straight answer, I could tell he wants to knock the houses down and probably put up multi-units. I can't do that to my immediate neighbors because they're all wonderful. But my area is so out of control that I might have to just take that up and walk away. And I just want to state, I'm sorry, some facts about Everett Street, just so you know. We're the only two-way street in the area, okay? Parking is on both sides, and those two trucking companies on Tremont Street utilize Everett Street every day. And you know what? We can't even get out of our driveways some days when the school is in progress, okay? And
Thank you.
last but not least, we have the casino shuttle that flips out.
I'll be quick. Item number 10, the newspaper advertising. Let's be fair with the city's advertisements. Use all 3 local papers. It's a no-brainer. I'm not supporting the newspapers here. I'm supporting the residents. We all know what's happening here. Don't let the mayor's issues with the Leader Herald impact the residents' access to public notices. Not all residents read the Advocate and the Independent. Some read the Leader Herald. Don't ignore those residents. Item number 16, the parking, no offense, but it's a ridiculous idea. Who's going to monitor the parking? Will we be hiring more police? How much will the new signs cost? I don't remember the context, but the mayor once said to me that he would not ticket someone coming home from work late at night for overnight parking. Which begs the question, does the mayor have control over who gets ticketed? Anyway, a ridiculous idea. Vote no. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Serge, next.
Next speaker is Laurie Flagg.
The flag, okay.
I need these. Good evening, Council. Happy New Year. Congratulations, President Marchese. I'd like to start by saying that this piece is number 16 on the agenda. This evening, my thoughts are, if I may ask the councilor, what time frame, why this time frame? If he can't answer me, I understand. But I'd just like to know where it came up, the 6 to 6. The ordinance now stands at 1 a.m. or 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. to 5 p.m., Sunday through Thursday, having Friday and Saturday night off because of the weekends, allowing family to have free to have company and whatnot, and not to worry about parking. I personally have struggled on my street with the time frame from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. I also struggle with weekend parking as I live off of Main Street area, and people that park on my street and get on the bus and go to work for 8 hours. There are also people, including one person right now since Friday night, that has been on my street in a white Malibu with New Jersey plates. I actually thought he'd be gone by Sunday night, but he's still there right now, which makes me think one of two things. He's either MIA or he's at the casino. People do that as well. I'm close enough to the casino to walk or to get on a bus and take the bus to the casino from my location, and people park on my street now. I just wish that we would take into consideration this time frame from 6 to 6. It really limits people, the good, solid, honest people that are worried about their friends and relatives getting a ticket. Some people don't care or they're not knowledgeable and they just park wherever. But the people that follow the rules will be the ones affected by this. I personally feel this is a targeted area and a few of your constituents have called that. Then maybe we should target that area with signage, or if it's a private way, maybe we should get some signage that says this is a private way, no public parking. I just feel it's necessary to think these things out. These things out before we blanket a whole city with the 6 to 6. Maybe we could put signs up in certain areas that say residential parking only. Others will be ticketed at owner's expense. We seem to be putting signs up for everything else. Maybe we should also put some signs at the bus stops that educate people that Everett is a residential parking only. I don't know. There's got to be more thought into this.
Thank you, Laurie.
The time's up?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just like to say that just one last thing, if I may. Until we can get the cars ticketed from 1 to 5 effectively and efficiently, let's not make it harder on the parking clerks and constituents and their families. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Samantha Lambert.
Hi, all. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President and council members. I just wanted to speak briefly on item number 15. All too often, I think that elected officials, city government, whoever you may be, sometimes feel that people put you in your position to be an expert on everything when that's actually not the case. You're in the position, any elected official or municipal employee is in the position to have access or to provide access to the residents that they represent. Case in point is in ARPA. I'm looking forward, hopefully there'll be an update as to how many of our residents were able to participate in the Balancing Act tool that was made public, but as of last count, it was less than 1% of our residents. So are we really engaging? We're not. Item 15 is our opportunity to see how it could be done and to allow the young people to show us what is possible through a participatory budgeting mechanism where they are truly engaging and truly hearing from the impacted youth. Just like ARPA is intended for those that are most impacted by COVID-19, we don't know that because we don't have demographics on the tool. Let the young people show us how it could be done and what is possible. The other item I wanted to speak briefly on is item number 23, which is adding artists to the home occupation dwelling use. It currently already states musician, which is a type of artist. If we give the more general artist, this allows our artists to be able to, it's already a tough career choice in some ways, but very rewarding. And especially in this time in Everett, I think everybody can benefit from more art, more expression, and these home businesses are offering respite to a lot of our residents, and so I would ask that you support that favorably.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wendy Post would be our next speaker.
Hi, good evening. I would just like to talk about last week's topic and about the legislative affairs item. I would like to clarify when you do discuss the item, it wasn't meant to be a vague felony conviction. The item was supposed to be specific to a sexual assault conviction that resulted in a sex offender registry. So, and just so you all know, when someone goes to the sex offender registry and registers, their information at exactly the same time as it is entered into the system, it goes to the police station in which they live and work. So in the case of my offender, it went to the Salisbury Police and the Everett Police the day he registered. So the Everett Police were the first to know. So, as well as the FBI. So those were the first people to know. So, and that is in every case, in every city and town across the country. So this isn't specific to a felon. We're not talking about small-time felons, and we're not picking on anybody. This is about a serious sex offender status. This is about the safety of our community. So that's what this is about. And my recommendation personally would be that they immediately get a leave of absence. That's up to the city whether they want to pay them, and then they are assessed at that level. They say, first of all, take them out of their position, and then you can discuss how they can be assessed. And I'm just an accountant. I don't do such things, but that's just my opinion. And I would also like to read a brief tort that is part of Massachusetts law about negligent retention. It occurs when an employer fails to take appropriate disciplinary action against an employee that the employer knew or should have known was unsuitable, and the employee's actions cause harm to others. This most often occurs when an employer knew the offending employee had a tendency to commit harassment, violence, or fraud. And in my case, that is what happened. They all knew.
Good evening. I will make this short and sweet. I was going to extend it, but we're short of time. It's how I feel about several of the items that are posted this evening. Number 5, the reappointment of Stacy DeMaria. No, it's a conflict of interest. Cemetery Commission, no. The parking we can discuss. 1 parking space per apartment minimum. Voting the mayor off of the school committee is absolutely necessary. TDM needs to be reviewed and dismissed if not what we need. And last but not least, we need Pope John sooner than later. I don't care if the mayor has decided he doesn't want it. Everyone else decided it needs to be done. The taxes are, well, that's another story. But
Thank you.
Motion to close public participation.
Second.
Motion to open public participation.
Second.
Public participation, Councilor Wien made that motion.
Grade second to open public participation. All in favor? I oppose. Public participation is open. Is open, as you know. You have time to come up and talk about anything that's on the agenda tonight, and try to keep it to 2 minutes so everybody has a chance to speak.
There's only 10 speakers. There is only 1 person that is on both lists. So just so we know. And our first speaker is Ms. Wendy Post.
How are you?
Hi,
Good.
good.
Just
Everybody
state
ready?
your name, please, and
I'm Wendy Post, and I want to make some further comments about the issue that President Marchese had brought up about municipal employees being on the sex offender list and how we're going to go about doing that. So I've continued to do work on my side on what the laws currently are and what other cities and towns are doing. So in case anybody is not aware, there is currently a Mass General Law, Part 1, Title 7, Chapter 41, prohibiting firefighters from smoking. They will be terminated. So you cannot smoke. You also cannot drive an ice cream truck if you're on the sex offender list. Makes sense. You can, however, be a firefighter currently in the city of Everett. So those are the things that keep me awake at night. So you can't drive a fire truck for obvious reasons. You're driving around with children. You can't smoke. I understand that. But these are laws that have been in place for years. And because there aren't right now, doesn't mean that cities and towns can't step up and say, we don't want sex offenders in police and fire departments. Those are the pillars of our community. Those are the people everybody looks up to, whether you're 2 years old or 100 years old. Those are the pillars of our community. And if we as a city don't put these ordinances in place, then it's up to whoever's in charge to make that decision, and I find that wrong. I don't see any reason why the fire chief, whoever is in charge at the time, does a query check every time a firefighter is up for promotion. You can't expect them to do these things every year. They are supposed to check licenses, just so you all know. If a driver's license is invalid, then they cannot do their job of driving a fire truck. So these are just simple laws that are out there that everybody needs to be aware of. The fire chief should be query checking every firefighter that's up for promotion.
Thank you,
That's
Ms.
step one.
Post. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Steve Pinto.
Good evening, everybody. Steve Pinto, Park Plaza. I just want to briefly talk about hopefully the upcoming host agreement that needs to be completely redone or a new one taking its place. The casino recently pulled in record profits, yet Everett taxpayers have seen a substantial increase in their property taxes. And it's only going to get more painful from what I see is coming down the road. Can't say that I see any real improvements in the city, either aesthetically or operationally. So I'm not sure what's happening with our tax dollars, as well as the casino money. It appears that the mayor and the city council and the administration were short-sighted on Wynn's potential earnings. I don't know why, but everyone also seemed to underestimate the mayor's spending habits, his extravagant spending habits. This board, a lot of people like to blame the mayor for the spending, but it's this board here that approves it all. So it lies with this board, not with the mayor. When executives are laughing all the way to the bank, while Everett taxpayers and renters are going to taking it on the chin, because the rents are going to increase if they already haven't. The mayor totally blew the negotiation with the host agreement the first time. I'm just hoping he gets it right the second time. But should the mayor and the council continue their ways of spending, then whatever host agreement comes up, if we arrive at some good number, it's not going to be enough to satisfy taxpayers. So it's time for this body to do their job, say no to the spending. And also on item 14 and 15, when it comes to putting people on boards and commissions, are they qualified? Do they have resumes? Or are we just putting them on there because they're friends and relatives?
Thank you, Mr. Pinto.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Peggy Serino.
Good evening, Peggy Serino, Lafayette Street. Did your taxes go up? Taxes didn't go up a little, they went up a lot. Where was the guy in the corner office when our tax bills and phones were ringing off the hook at City Hall? He was in Aruba. What did we get for our increase in taxes? Nothing. Councilor Smith and the guy in the corner office, as chief of staff, said the taxes would go up if we renovated Pope John. We haven't renovated Pope John and our taxes went up a lot. Where's the taxpayer money going? The guy in the corner office wants to spend $2.5 million to put a roof and a new boiler in the old high school on Broadway, a building that is 105 years old and was a tear down in 1998. You know, you can dress up a pig, but it's still a pig. The guy in the corner office wants to add tin can trailers with 2 doors to our new school at a cost of $50 million. The first floor of our new schools that we spent a lot of taxpayer money on will have to be reconfigured to do this. Forsaking playground and parking area. How trashy are our new schools going to look with tin can trailers with 2 doors sticking out of them? How long will this take and really cost? Where are the kids going to go to school while this is going on? Are you talking virtual learning? I wouldn't want to be the one that tells the parents that. Are the groups using Pope John and the old high school on Broadway paying rent or utilities? Or are the taxpayers footing the whole bill? Rehabbing Pope John is the only option that makes sense. The guy in the corner office wants to keep the old high school on Broadway that is 105 years old and was a tear down in 1998. He wants to give, not sell at market value, Pope John, a structurally sound building that can be renovated that the taxpayers paid over $10 million for, to TND. TND will tear Pope John down and put up 2 apartment buildings to house 500 people or more if TND gets zoning changes. These buildings will only have 116 parking spaces, and parking was discussed quite a lot here tonight. It's a real problem. The council can stop this. The council is the one that has the right to vote on the final disposition of any property in this city. Please vote no on the modulars, extended classrooms, or as I call them, the tin can trailers with 2 doors. Vote no on the old high school. It would be a waste of $2.5 million of taxpayer money.
Ms. Serino,
Vote no.
thank you, Ms. Serino.
Okay, thank you.
John McDonald is our next speaker.
John McDonald. I'd just like to show my support for Darren for his work on helping with the zoning resolutions and to keep our neighborhoods as neighborhoods instead of just turning them into apartment buildings with covered by asphalt all around them. Another thing that is bothersome me is the salary for the Department of Libraries. In 2021, the library spent about $453,000 for salaries. However, the 2022 budget, they were budgeted for $738,000. That's $285,000 more than they needed. For 2023, the mayor recommends $869,000 for library salaries. That is $423,000 more than what is needed, what was needed for 2022. This is nearly twice as much as needed. Where is all that money going since it's not being spent on salaries? Once again, I have to say the taxpayers of Everett are up in arms over the outrageous increase in property taxes. I think it would be unfair to purposely burden the Everett taxpayers with this type of ridiculous budgeting. How can you budget, how can you have a known expense and then say, oh, for next year, we need to double that? Are they planning on doubling the amount of people in the library? Are they planning on doubling the salaries of the people in the library? Does anybody look at the budget to figure out what the hell is going on? It doesn't look like it to me. Thank you.
Paula Sterides next.
Good evening, Paula Sterides. I hope the City Council supports Councilor Costa's recommendation to amend the TDM ordinance, an ordinance you voted on without fully understanding the consequences. Please vote to correct your mistake. The residents signed the moratorium and zoning petitions were getting very concerned by the lack of action, but are pleased with this amendment. It's not perfect, but it will be a great start to protecting our neighborhoods from investors and more absentee landlords. I also wanted to thank Councilor Costa for spending the last few months getting into the gritty details of the TDM ordinance and attending many planning and zoning board meetings. I know the residents and abutters appreciate your support and you speaking on their behalf and highlighting the TDM ordinance isn't right for Everett. At a minimum, we need a complete review on how 600 Broadway was pushed through. There isn't much people agree on these days, but I think everyone is in agreement that 600 Broadway is a god-awful building. Next, regarding the legal expenses, why was John Pappalardo hired for $27,000 in May to address adverse newspaper stories? The negative press was due to Anthony DePiero's racist comments and videos with other city officials, one who continues to work for the city and who, ironically, sat next to Ms. Ricci when she was talking about the DOJ's investigation, or inquiry as they call it now. But isn't this very similar to the mayor bringing in Mr. Pappalardo in 2020, asking the council to approve payments for his legal services? The same questions exist. Why are we hiring lawyers who concentrate in white-collar criminal defense, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, anti-money laundering, securities fraud, public corruption, financial institution fraud, medical ethics, commercial bribery? The list goes on. To be involved in an inquiry. Does that make any sense? Ms. Ricci spoke about using less expensive lawyers and AI programs to reduce costs. From the invoice I was provided by the city, the invoice is nearly 100% John Pappalardo and Ms. Ricci's show. I asked the council to stop paying any additional money until you and the presidents are provided what we're paying for. I also strongly recommend a change in law firms, using lawyers at $800 an hour to review emails and phone records, and it is an insult to every taxpayer. How much of our tax dollars are being spent on settlements and legal expenses? I also support getting professional help to modernize the district maps and ordinances. The TDM, the TMA, and overdevelopment Everett is due to the mayor's hiring and appointments. I recommend the consultants and community members not be selected by the mayor, but assigned by the councilors addressing the overcrowding crisis, Councilor Costa and Councilor Smith. Otherwise, we'll just get more of the same. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bob Cogliano, and I would like to, Darren Costa, appreciate what you're trying to do to get the residential area here in Everett rezoned with this TDM transportation problem, because everybody is affected in Everett with all these buildings. And I am, for one, who live right around the corner here, has been affected by some houses they put up a few years back. Two-family house got taken down, and they put up a 12-family house, a 12 apartment. They park out in the street now. They took all our parking spaces. So I want to thank you for looking into this, and you have my support. And I am surprised that she left. Very rude that Councilor Cadillo left, because I wanted to address her on a problem I had Sunday with a car parked across my driveway for 2.5 hours. I called the parking commission, they never came until 2.5 hours later. He looked at the car, and this person's car was parked up against my wife's bumper. I couldn't even get a piece of paper between his license plate and her bumper, and I couldn't get out of my driveway or in it. So I called City Hall, 311. Parking commission came 2.5 hours later at 11:30, and I seen the guy get in his car. And I got out on the porch and I said, the next time you park like that, I will have you towed. I'll make sure you get towed. Well, he backed up his car and he went to leave, but before he left, his passenger window come down and his hand come out and gave me the finger, okay? So that's the type of people that she has parking in this here. On Saturdays and Sundays, we hear these trucks backing up at 6 o'clock in the morning and all kinds of parking. So very rude, Ms. Cadillo, that you weren't here tonight.
There we go. My name is Vincent Lawrence Dixon of 60 Lake Street, Unit N in Winchester, Mass. 01890. I'm a member of the NAACP Mystic Valley Area Branch, and of the Education Committee of that organization. I appreciate the courtesy of hearing my remarks. I have spoken to the Everett School Committee on several occasions, and I have a general interest as well as a specific interest in issues of education, enrollment, and over-enrollment, and educational funding. This past week, in fact, we all lost a leader in educational reform in the passing of former Senate President Tom Birmingham, who helped to develop the foundational budget that helps steer state resources to our municipal schools. Yet school enrollments in many cases continue to grow, and this constitutes an important aspect of educational equity. I served on the Finance Committee in my town of Winchester for 4 years, and we struggle with those issues to this very hour. I well remember talking to a Newton school teacher years ago who said rather nicely, class size is everything. That was at a point where, if I remember correctly, Newton had just gone from about 16 to 18 students to about 14 students. A key goal of any educational system has to be improving the provision of proper classroom space and systemic reduction of class sizes. This is part of what educational equity is about and must be about. Surely Everett is strained with larger class sizes, but there is a situation or a solution that recommends itself, the reclaiming of the former Pope John XXIII School for use by the Everett Public Schools. While modulars are often sold as a remedy, they, from our experience in the town in which I reside, Winchester, provide a degree of awkward solution that has an additional utility cost and is barely a temporary solution. The former Pope John XXIII School did function as a school and can be updated for current use. Surely it's a more practical solution. In the meantime, the Massachusetts School Building Authority reimbursements and construction costs are both going in the wrong direction. We just had approval for an elementary school at 17% reimbursement, not the 40% we had for the high school. So there's some trends that are going in the wrong direction, subsidies going down, and construction costs going up, and reclaiming the original school of John 23rd, I think makes sense. And I thank you for your thinking and consideration on these matters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is David Fortin.
Good evening. My name is David Fortin. I'm a member of Ward 4. Item 12 under your unfinished business is article number C0528-22. It's a resolution by Councillor Stephanie Martins and the entire Common Council. Please define entire. Is this considered the entire council? Because if it is, it isn't. We're missing one member. That one member is being paid. And he's not here for obvious reasons. We all know the reasons. We've been through that before. I'm not going through it again. Let's see here, where am I? Jimmy Lee has not resigned that I'm aware of, and I'm a member of Ward 4. If he has, please notify us. Election time is coming up, people. Inquiring minds and concerned voters need an answer. Thank you.
And our last speaker is Samantha Lambert.
Hi, good evening, Samantha Lambert. I'm speaking as a resident tonight. I won't speak on any of the education pieces because I do have that platform elsewhere. But I am speaking tonight in favor of items 18, 20, 22, and 23. That's a lot, so I will keep it short. Development is here and it's already happening. We know that there are arguments in favor of, and I appreciate that there are efforts as such from the planning department to explore creative alternatives within the TDM. But we cannot continue to ignore the very real impacts on residents of Everett. The impacts on our neighborhoods, on our quality of life, on our history and the lack of preservation of it, on our community. Public-private relationships and partnerships are real, and they are successfully used in several cities around us with similar demographics. Some started too late, but it is not too late for us. We have a very large entertainment development designed to be a destination for folks outside of Everett on its way. You approved this, it's coming. But Everett is not a destination for us, it's home. It's long past time to consider the everyday costs, to engage our residents and community members in authentic ways, to consider community advisory boards and community benefits agreements developed by residents that require private developers to mitigate the impacts that they have on our lives. We have to stop reacting and instead claim authority over our city and proactively steer a vision that includes us, the people that live and love Everett. Thank you. Have a good night.
Close.
Request to close public participation.